When it comes to our health, it's often the stuff we can't see that's the most dangerous. Today, we are tackling a major hidden threat, visceral fat. We're going to cut through all the noise and get straight to the science-backed, natural ways you can actually fight it. All right, let's dive in.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. We're always so focused on the fat we can see or pinch, right? But what if the real problem, the real danger, is lurking deep inside, completely hidden from view?
Okay, so first things first, before we talk about how to get rid of it, we need to get a really clear picture of what this hidden danger actually is and exactly why it needs our attention.
So, your body basically has two main kinds of fat. You've got subcutaneous fat, that's the stuff right under your skin, the layer you can actually pinch. But then there's visceral fat, and this stuff is totally different. It's deep inside your abdomen, literally wrapping itself around your vital organs like your liver and intestines.
Okay, so why is this such a big deal? Because having too much visceral fat isn't just about how you look. This is a serious health risk. This fat is actually metabolically active, which means it pumps out inflammatory stuff that directly raises your risk for major problems like diabetes, high blood pressure, and even heart disease. The main takeaway here is simple. Managing this internal fat is absolutely crucial for your long-term health.
All right, now that we know what we're up against, let's talk about how to fight back. We're going to start with our first pillar, strategic eating. What you put into your body is honestly one of the most powerful tools you have.
You'd be amazed at how powerful a simple change can be. Check this out. Research found that for every extra 10 grams of soluble fiber people ate each day, they saw their visceral fat go down by 3.7% over 5 years. Now, that might not sound like a huge number, but that's a significant drop from a really small dietary tweak.
So what does 10 grams of soluble fiber even look like in real life? Is it a mountain of food? Well, it's way easier than you probably think. Just eating 2 small apples, or a cup of green peas, or even a half cup of pinto beans gets you right to that target. It's all about these small, consistent adds to what you're already eating.
And it's not just about adding one thing, right? Your overall way of eating really matters. A major study found that a Mediterranean-style diet, one that's full of things like olive oil, berries, and leafy greens, was amazing at promoting the loss of visceral fat. And this is probably because of these cool little compounds called polyphenols that are packed into those foods.
Okay, we can't really talk about diet without touching on alcohol. And the research here is, well, it's pretty interesting. A really large study found that drinking more beer and spirits was linked to having more visceral fat. But on the other hand, drinking red wine in moderation was actually associated with less of it, maybe because it has some unique anti-inflammatory powers.
All right, let's shift gears to our second pillar, moving your body. And this isn't just about exercise. We're also going to cover a few surprising environmental factors. It's not just about what you eat, it's about how you move, and even how you chill.
And hey, if you're always short on time, and who isn't, then you're going to want to hear this. A massive review of 39 different studies confirm that high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is a super powerful and efficient way to reduce visceral fat. That's where you do short and tense bursts of work, followed by quick little rest periods.
But does it matter what kind of high HIIT you do? Well, the data says, yeah, it probably does. That same huge study compared different exercises. And I know this chart looks a little complicated, but the takeaway is actually super simple. When it came to cutting down both total fat and that deep visceral fat, running beat out cycling. But here's where it gets really interesting, and honestly a little counterintuitive. While pushing yourself to the absolute max, like above 90% of your peak heart rate, was best for overall body fat, it was the lower intensity HIIT that actually had a bigger effect specifically on visceral fat. So what does that mean? It means you don't have to completely destroy yourself to target this specific dangerous fat. Okay, let's switch from all that high-energy movement to something way more chill. What if I told you that you could help fight fat just by adjusting your thermostat while you're sleeping? I know, it sounds a little too good to be true, right? But the science actually backs this up. Research from the National Institutes of Health showed that sleeping in a cool room, right around 66 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 Celsius, basically flips on your body's internal furnace. It has to work harder to stay warm, and that gives your metabolism a nice little boost. So how on earth does that work? Well, the secret lies in something called brown adipose tissue, or BAT for short. See, unlike regular white fat, which just stores energy, brown fat is different. Its whole job is to burn calories to create heat. Sleeping in a cooler room encourages your body to fire up the brown fat you already have and maybe even build more of it over time. Okay, for our third and final pillar, we're going to talk about something that is so often overlooked, but is absolutely crucial. We're going to explore the powerful link between your mind, your rest, and that fat around your middle. Let's kick things off with sleep. The data here is just undeniable. Sleeping less is directly tied to having more of this dangerous visceral fat. And that's because when you don't get enough sleep, it messes up the key hormones that control your appetite. The research points to a sweet spot of about 7 to 8 hours a night, and the benefits seem to level off after that.
And then there's stress. Oh man, stress creates this nasty, vicious cycle. It starts with chronic stress, which leads to high levels of the hormone cortisol. That high cortisol then cranks up your cravings for all the junk food, which, you guessed it, leads directly to gaining more visceral fat.
So, the big question is, how do you break out of that cycle? Well, one tool that's backed by some solid research is an herb called ashwagandha. The best studies out there have found it can seriously lower cortisol levels and feelings of stress. This helps you break that cycle right at the source, dialing down the cravings and helping you manage your weight.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? From fiber to HIIT to even your thermostat. So let's boil it all down into a super simple, actionable game plan.
So here it is. This is your action plan. It's about getting that 10 grams of soluble fiber in, it's trying that lower intensity HIIT, maybe giving running a shot. It's making 7 to 8 hours of sleep a priority, and it's using your environment, cooling down your bedroom, and managing stress with proven tools. The magic here is that each of these little things builds on the others for a really powerful effect.
And that really brings us to the end of this deep dive. The science is solid, the strategies are there for you, so the only real question left is this. Now that you know all this, which small change are you going to make first? Thanks for sticking with me through this explainer.